Well, I've been kicked out of my near every bar around. I've been locked up for driving 120 through town. I've been shot at and cut with a knife, messing around with another man's wife. But other than that, we ain't nothing, just good old boys. Threw my boss out the window and got fired from my last job. Hot-wired a city truck and turned it over in the mayor's yard. Paid my brother-in-law half to death. Lost $20 on his football bet. But other than that, we ain't nothing, just good old boys. Good old boys, we're all the same. Ain't no way we'll ever change. Ain't no harm by the things we do, or the trouble that we get into. Other than a while, every once in a while, we can't help it, it's just our style. Good old boys is all we'll ever be. I got 6 weeks overdue. I got caught with a truck full of bootleg out-of-state booze. Hocked my wife's diamond ring last June.
Headphones go on before you start the show.
I haven't started the show yet.
Good morning, everybody.
Welcome to the Wade and Carter program. Alongside Ash, I'm Brent.
Glad you're here, whether you're joining us on Magic,
It's Friday.
Facebook, YouTube. Stephanie Connie, first one on the podium this morning, blowing everybody out of the waters, checking in. There's Mark Kurtz, Daniel Wade White. There's your podium this morning. Thank you for checking in, everybody. We're glad you're here. Let's get to it.
79 degrees and sunny in Victoria, Texas, heading to a high of 92. The Wade and Carter weather brought to you by the great folks at AT Dearland Feed. If you haven't already gone to your Facebook page and checked out Riker the Wonder Dog, I did post yesterday some pictures of Riker inspecting the lawn, and I just can't exaggerate. The photos don't do it justice.
No.
Go look at the grass. Did you see the post? Riker the Wonder Dog?
It's green.
It is green and lush and thick, and we, honest to goodness, the front yard, we mow it twice a week.
Yeah.
I mean, it's purely the 21-7-14 blend. Now, I went home yesterday.
And the herbicide you put down too.
Balin. I put down the pre-emergent. So I don't have any of the weeds that are associated with summertime when things start to get a little droughty and then all the weeds pop. Nah, don't have them. I did go home yesterday, and I have more than one pump up spreader and a sprayer, and I kept one with a bifin mixture in it. And I walked out yesterday, and mosquitoes, as you can picture, it's like duh. If you ever get in your car and find like a dead mosquito on your dash, they're very easily dehydrated. They don't handle heat well.
No.
That's why they come out when it's rainy. And so what they do is you've got your bedding plants.
You know, you're such a mosquito expert.
Well, I've been bitten. They come underneath and they stay under the leaves of your plants. So I got my bifin and just walked along my front porch, and there's a holly bush there, and I sprayed all underneath it. I'm another 20 minutes later, there wasn't a mosquito around. Mosquitoes are not nomadic. So if you kill the ones in your immediate area, you eliminate most of them because they don't come from your neighbor's yard to yours because they're so easily depleted. They need to fly to eat and then fly to hide. That's what they do. So they try to get after Riker, and it's amazing. You saw it yesterday morning. He's like, they look gray on him, and they can't get through his fur. He's just immune.
There's Bobby Leister checking in. Will Vincent, Scott Snow. Good morning. Monty Howard.
All tuckered out over here.
Yeah, he's been busy working on those Carter for Mayor caps.
He just chews them to nothing.
Kind of like your campaign.
So my camp, that is what
Ricky King, Lisa Poole, Scott Tomko, Linda Chris, Junior Samples. Hi, Marina.
Look,
Bobby Leister.
Carter for mayor. That's what's
left.
That's about what's left of the dream.
Yep.
Yeah.
Greg Garcia, Janie Rivera Gonzalez. Scott Tomko says he and the mosquitoes are on the patio. Good morning, Buddy Stavanoa, Marvin Mickish, Brad Mitchell. Junior Riker, the Wonder Dog. Wonder what going to get eaten next. The TV remote.
He's just amazing. Yesterday, he totally destroyed. Thank goodness it was a metal. The look that you get from sunblock. When you got the little knob, you can turn it and then it sprays. So there's a mosquito spray like that that's supposed to be natural. We never used it. He chewed the top off of it, and so all we have left
then you got to put it in your hand and splash it on like Brute.
All we have left is the high karate. Remember high karate?
Pierre Cardin, that was the fancy one.
Nice with the
look like the tower. Right?
Careful. I don't know
really.
I don't know what it looked like. Multi-purpose.
Somewhat phallic.
Yes. So what's the news today? Donald Trump
and smell good.
Donald Trump saying that
stepdaughter stole it all the time.
In the next 2 weeks, because she liked the smell. Donald Trump saying that in the next 2 weeks, he'll decide what he's going to do with Iran. It's so funny to me because he just talks off the top of his head. They had a chance to make a deal. They didn't make a deal. They should have made a deal. Now the time is late. I'll decide in the next 2 weeks what I'm going to do.
Now,
and then news media outlets, Donald Trump stating emphatically he will decide in the next 2 weeks. He just said that just to say it.
Wow. I'm surprised they haven't spun it. Donald Trump says war imminent.
Right. In 2 weeks, war begins.
Yeah. But listen to CNN this morning on their 5 Things little newsletter. Raging wars.
Oh, you got to bring up climate change.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
That's back.
Yeah. Natural disasters, global pandemics. Well, let's see what they say about Israel. And no signs of de-escalation in the week-long conflict, according to CNN, although Benjamin Netanyahu says that Iran is not anywhere near as potent as they were when this thing started. Israel says it's struck dozens of targets, including missile production sites and a nuclear research facility. How many of these nuclear research facilities do they have in Iran? Because you would think for a country that size, Israel would have hit them all already.
Right.
And they haven't. They keep, every day you hear of another one getting hit. That tells me, Iran doesn't want this stuff for power.
Listen to this logic from the towel heads in Iran. On Thursday, the White House said that President Donald Trump will decide whether to launch a U.S. strike on Iran within the next 2 weeks. And in the meantime, diplomatic efforts may proceed. Now, you'll remember that just a while back, he gave them 60 days, and they didn't do anything. And on the 61st day, Israel attacked them. It's like, learn, people. Come on, there's a pattern here. So he says, I'll decide in the next 2 weeks. But between now and then, if they want to talk about this, we can talk about it. However, Iran has said that it will not engage in further talks with the U.S. until the Israeli attacks end. I don't think Iran, to quote the president, has the cards here.
Yeah.
This is as if the big guy on the block is watching 2 kids fight. And he tells the one kid, not only is your buddy whipping your fanny, in the next 2 minutes, I'm going to decide if I'm going to whip your fanny, but we can talk about it. And you're laying there just getting punched in the mouth. And you say, I'm not talking to you till he quits hitting me. Oh, okay. Israel is just going to keep pummeling Iran for the next 2 weeks, and then we will go in and clean up what's left of it. There won't be much left. Meanwhile, the world feels bad for Iran. You know why? Because the world's evil. The world's mad at Israel. People are trying to get the picture. People are trying to develop an atomic weapon specifically to use against the little sin, to eradicate the infidels that won't transfer over to their religion. Convert or die is their team motto. So Israel says, well, you know what? We've got all these weapons. Why don't we just go ahead and take them out so they can't do that to us? They're the scourge of the earth. The Jews are the bad people for doing that.
All the leftists that were busy protesting on behalf of Mexican illegals and others, they're scrambling to find their Iranian flag this week, aren't they?
No doubt. No, but they got their pride flag up. It's just tough trying to be a flag waving liberal.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, Greg Garcia, Iran is not in a position to dictate terms at all.
Not at all.
100% agree. They've got no standing.
No.
There's Jackie Parsons. Look, she's at Deerland Feed right now.
Absolutely.
You can get by today.
There's Torrin Bales checking in, Jarrett McCrugan, Sherry Jacobs. Look, Sherry. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Get by.
Matt Boucher.
Get by and pick up some 21-714 because you can also put that down on July 4th and get your yard through the summer months.
Absolutely. Yeah. I like how he left it sort of, it's not 2 weeks, 14 days, and then we're going to make a decision
in the next
within the next. So that puts a little pressure on Iran. Yeah.
But
although Iran we're not going to talk to them until Israel stops bombing us.
I love how that they're just getting hammered by Israel and they're going, the West will suffer dire consequences. I just don't think so. I don't think so.
But if anybody doesn't think that they would get a nuclear bomb and fire it off at the U.S.
or deliver it in a suitcase and leave it at a water plant in New York City. That's what they would do.
You're sadly mistaken. Iran has funded most of the global terrorism against the West in one way, shape, or form, whether giving them weapons sourced through China and Russia.
Bar none and by far. There was a guy this morning, Governor Ron DeSantis and Florida have been granting assistance to Jewish Americans, to Americans who want to get out of Israel. They're getting them to Florida and helping out. And this young Jewish man who apparently had some standing as a journalist, maybe it said he was a commentator and author, but he had a prepared statement. And he was talking about Governor DeSantis and what a great job he had done on behalf of Jewish Americans. And he said, I just want to thank the state of Florida, Floridians, for opening up. With the Israelis and Jews have no greater friend in America than Governor Ron DeSantis, who is the greatest governor, bar none and by far, in the country. And Ash and I were like, bar none, by far, by God, by golly, gee.
He added a by golly,
he
too.
might have added a by golly in there as well. So just thought that was, he meant that. I told Ash, he meant that.
That was not on the script. No, that was straight from the heart.
Bar none and by far. Bar none and by far, the Wade and Carter program, the greatest radio program.
By far and by golly, by none, bar none.
By G. Palace Bingo, folks, next Thursday, be there on the 26th. It's just going to be a cluster. You should be there. We are rowdy, we are irreverent, and we win.
And somewhat irrelevant.
And they hate us because we win.
That's why they hate us.
We are like...
They don't hate losers. They hate winners.
We are like the New York Yankees of bingo.
We are.
They hate us. USA Concrete Coating.
Because they want to be us.
That's right. They hate us because they ain't us. Ain't us, not anus. Stop it, perverts. USA Concrete Coatings. Sand it, seal it, stain it, paint it, whatever you want done. Charlie Garcia and his team will come out. They can also level your slab. You got to crack. Your doors aren't quite closing the way they should. Reach out to Charlie, 578-HOME. Let him help you. Today's Chicken Fried Friday.
Get in there today at the
Veracruz today with kind of that neon gravy. It's that famous gravy that everybody loves.
I might have to get in there and get one. Actually.
It's really good. I can't have it. It's really good, though. I highly recommend that you get into
You
Veracruz.
could have it. You just can't have the potatoes and the chips and everything else with it.
Right? Allen's Wrecker Service.
578-6300.
Allen's your go-to tow-to. You got a problem anytime this weekend. Pretty much anything. Car won't start. Need a jump. Have a little fender bender. Please wear your seatbelt. Don't drink and drive. Allen's Wrecker Service, 578-6300. The Dollar Floor Store.
Yep. Get in and stop in and see Tamara today. She will help you with all your flooring needs. I mean, we're talking rock bottom prices
I
on
almost wanna
quality flooring.
I was going to Tamara Studer, A.
Yeah.
Like she's Italian. I mean, Canadian.
But she's not.
She's not, A. Tamara, sweet lady, and can help you with all the latest floor designs. It's not so like discount house. It's just a great store that operates at a discount. Paravita Wellness. Try to beat Lisa Poole. Good luck. Lisa's already there, camped out, waiting for the 50% off all the homemade, handmade meals that are in the cold case. Get by Paravita Wellness today. And this weekend, stop by Vita Cafe. You can go by for breakfast. Right there off Spring Creek. Love it.
Big sale, the chopping block, ribeyes down to $13.99 a pound. That's $2 savings. I mean, that adds up. You buy, that's almost, you buy 6 steaks, you're getting one free.
There you go.
Or less.
That's practically.
Yeah. Well, for you, that's your whole family.
Where is, how would you tell people where Vita Cafe? It's not Spring Creek. It's right there by Spring Woods, or what's that neighborhood?
Basically off
Detour
by
North.
Detour North. Yep.
Yeah,
You
just go
find
there.
Detour North, you'll find
You'll
the
find
Vita
it. You'll
Cafe.
smell it. Put it down your window and smell.
And they've also restocked their pasta salads, chicken salads, cucumber salads, and smoked chicken breast as well. Also the Terrace Majors.
That's a
Get
great
in there
little
before
steak.
they're and get in before they're gone. They've been flying off the shelves, and they've got them stuffed with seasoned cream cheese, cheddar cheese, and green onions. So try those things stuffed. They look really good.
Yep. And then White Trash Services and White Trash Site Services. If you need trash collection services in any county, just anywhere, just call them 550-1826. You'll talk to a person. That's a great thing. It doesn't say if you need pickup, press 1 now. You know what was that? That was a real growl. Did you hear that?
I don't know what that was.
He's a little light in the shorts for that.
Yeah. David Glass checking in. Kinsey McGrew, good morning. She says she ordered the Mediterranean bowl yesterday at Vita Cafe. Says it was phenomenal and convenient to order ahead. There you go.
Kenzie's like little bitty. Like she'll eat that bowl for 3 days.
I know.
Yeah. Put it back in the fridge.
Yeah. She had it all at one sitting. People would ask her if she's with child.
Yep.
Let's see what else is happening. Anybody? We miss anybody? No, I think I saw Matt Boucher earlier. I think we're good there. Kathleen Leininger says Iranian citizens can be rational and reasonable. Unfortunately, the ruling class for decades has a close relationship with the irrational, psychotic, schizophrenic ideologies. Yeah, they don't.
Yeah, the Iranian people are not bad people. And
No.
in general, they want to embrace the West.
It's just they're held in fear because
right.
they're killed if they show any sort of demonstrations or rallies against it. And they're unlike the folks in Gaza who either through brainwashing or willingly just hate the Jews because they've been indoctrinated since they were in pre-K.
Hey, that's Canadian.
It is. What do you make of?
Kenzie says she ate the whole thing.
Yeah. There's Jason Brannon. Good
Good
morning,
morning,
to you.
JB.
What do you make of the U.S. Appeals Court? I mean, this is somewhat promising because you're getting a district judge to tell Donald Trump that he can't control the National Guard in California, and then they appeal it to an appeals court. And at least we're not having to get this all the way to the Supreme Court now. Maybe it'll still get there. I don't know. But an appeals court ruled in favor of President Donald Trump, allowing him to retain control over the California National Guard deployed in L.A. in response to protests over the immigration raids that were happening. A little flap with the Dodgers. Apparently, ICE showed up to.
I actually heard the other side of that pancake, and just so you know, that was what the Main Street media put out. ICE staging, like a confiscation at the Dodger game.
Yeah,
I got clarification this morning that what it really was. ICE said we were never there. It was Border Patrol, and Border Patrol had been at a Home Depot. And by the way, if you ever want to find a good group of illegals, just go to a Home Depot. And which, by the way, Home Depot ought to be fined for hiring all the illegals. They should.
Well, they don't. They just stand out front looking for work at a lot of places.
So
should they move them along? Are they
Well,
aiding and abetting?
Yes, they are. So when Border Patrol went to the Home Depot, there were in California some spontaneous activist Americans who got involved and, leave them alone. They're just trying to work. So they moved over to Dodger Stadium parking lot to get everything sorted out. They did not ask the Dodgers for permission.
No, and
nor did the Dodgers actually not grant them permission. The whole thing was made up by the media. ICE raids Dodger Stadium. It's just a lie. Didn't happen. Yeah. What did Jarrett say that made Kathleen Leininger laugh? Because that's
Canada too, when talking about comment on Iran citizens.
Oh, about being brainwashed?
Yeah. And held for decades with a schizophrenic ruling class.
Oh, yeah, that's Canada.
Yeah. Yeah. You had Trudeau, and now you have Carney.
Is Carney coming around a little bit to the Donald?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I heard some rumors and reports, but conflicting. Some are saying that he had a meeting with the premiers of Canada and they actually had a very productive meeting on things. And then others are saying, well, it wasn't quite as productive or as it didn't go as well as the mainstream media is telling folks it went. So
right.
I don't know. The media up there is just as skewed as
it's
the media
government
down
controlled,
here.
isn't it?
Yeah.
More so. Although it's government controlled here too, people.
And then when you want to go and actually try to find it out, then you get, well, that's not a real source. That's not a legitimate source. Yeah.
I did hear
that's
AOC,
a right-leaning source.
AOC the other day, and then I'm picking on her because she's on the left. It's not an uncommon philosophy. She was talking about we've got to find a way to get control of the media. Now, you wouldn't think that the left would say, well, everybody says that politically behind the scenes. What are we going to do? We have to address how the media is going to handle this.
Well, you know what that makes me think? She wants to control all the independent journalists that are on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram that are wreaking havoc on the left's ability to control the narrative out of Washington, D.C. and places like that.
The left is fighting a multi-front war. They're trying so desperately to deal with the illegal immigrants. They're trying so desperately to deal with the LGBTQ stupidity, the mental health. Do you see where the 988, we used to put it on here all the time because we had a couple of deranged listeners. So we would put on here, if you're, suicidal, dial 988. It's just like dialing 911 or 611 to get to AT&T. You dial 988 and they will put you in touch with
811 when you're digging.
Right. Call before you dig. 988 is in America is a hotline, a quick shot to health, mental health conversation. Well, the administration, I don't think it was President Trump, the administration has said that they will no longer offer transgender specific counseling to minors on the 988 network. And that's all they said. If you're suicidal and you need to talk to somebody about the way you feel, then you can still dial 988. 988's not going away. But you can't call and say, I'm 11 years old. My name is Bill. I think I'm a girl. Hold, please. We'll get you with Tiffany. That's not going to happen anymore. You don't have a specific counselor for that specific form of mental illness. So I have no problem with that because I look at that as enabling. I look at that personally as if I'm Bill and I think I'm Lisa, I look at that as, well, I can always call 988 because they understand me. And what was the deal that was we talked about this morning?
Tennessee.
Tennessee. This is important. It happened day before yesterday. We just are now getting to it. But do you have actually like commentary on that from?
Well, the Supreme Court rules 6-3 to uphold Tennessee's ban on medical treatment for transgender minors. The court found, this according to 1440, the law did not amount to sex discrimination, barred under the 14th Amendment's Equal Protection Clause. And it's an estimated 300,000 children ages 13 to 17 identify as transgender in this country. 42,000 of them receive gender dysphoria diagnosis. So that's a mental illness, isn't it?
So let me tell you something. In most of your lifetimes, the psychological counseling profession was viewed as quacks. They were viewed as quacks.
It was never a reputable science.
And it's still not. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't benefit from going and talking to someone about your problems. I'm not against counseling. I'm saying that the idea
and I'm not even against some of the advances in what they've discovered with how the brain works.
Right. Although you can discover that just by hanging out with Gutenberger.
True.
But at the end of the day, the idea, what strikes me as being so pertinent is the left, you've got to be 21 years old to buy alcohol because your brain you don't understand how things work, and you've got to be,
except in Canada,
you've got to be careful.
18 and 19.
You got to be 18 to vote because we understand that you don't really have that thinking process down before you're 18.
You got to be 18 and now 21 to buy cigarettes because you don't understand the harm you're doing to your lungs and your body by willingly ingesting nicotine and harmful chemicals into your lungs.
If you're 9 years old and you decide that you want to be a girl instead of being a boy, the folks that are arguing with Tennessee say that you should be able to get counseling for that, and they should support your decision.
Yep.
And maybe even expedite your alteration. People are making decisions at a very immature age that will affect them forever and ever. It's been shown now that these puberty blockers and these hormones that people take are not totally reversible.
The mental health issues, the suicide rate, and I'll find the data, but it doesn't change by folks that have the surgeries, the gender reassignment surgeries. The suicide rates are just as high.
And all that gender garbage, it's all made up. We're human beings. So when you're born, you're either born a biological male or a biological female. Now, I'm not telling you that there aren't birth defects, which is what they are, abnormalities that skew that, but there's not 300,000 of them. This is kids seeking attention. This is being funded, promoted by the left. And
when they changed I was listening to an interview the other day, and I'll try to find it because I have it somewhere. They were talking to a researcher who said when they started changing the books, the psychological, the big text that everybody, I can't remember exactly what it's called, but anyway, that basically that psychiatrists use. Brandon Gutenberger, help me out here if you're listening.
Hang on a second, caller.
Anyway, there was no science behind it. They just started doing it. So it became accepted. I sat at a normal psych class in the 90s and listened to my professor tell me that if you were a man and thought you were a woman, you had gender dysphoria and you were crazy.
Gender dysphoria. I mean, you're either a man or a woman. There's no gender. There we have a caller. Good morning. Who are you? What are you calling about?
Hi, guys. It's Kathleen. How are you all?
That'd be Kathleen Leiniger. She's so much of a part of the show now. She just comes in as like, hi, it's Oprah. Okay. It's me, Kathleen, calling from the Shiner area.
You bet.
How are you, ma'am? What's going on?
I'm doing fine, thanks. I was going to comment on the direction that psychology and psychiatry has gone in the last few decades, and it's not in a good direction because they're so focused on the negative and the skewed that they can't see to help you get to where you need to be as in a normal ideology kind of, or not a normal whatever. When I was in the hospital a couple of years ago, and I had some serious things going on, the psychiatrist came in to talk to me a couple of times, and it sort of made me a little bit mad because I was struggling to stay positive with the loss of a whole lot of stuff. And the first thing that they wanted to talk to me about was depression and suicide. I don't know about you, but anybody that I've ever run into or any experience I've ever had, the more you focus on a negative, the more it becomes the overwhelming thing that you're dealing with. And it's hard to get back to the positive if all you're doing is focusing on the negative. And that is what psychology and psychiatry has moved to, with all these really odd diagnoses that we're going to help you with gender dysphoria. We're going to help you with,
it's almost like an infomercial. You need us. You need to talk about this. Have you considered suicide? Yeah, I'm with you 100%.
And to push drugs.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they wanted to get me on antidepressants, and I had already had so dang many drugs. I really didn't want an additional pharmaceutical in my body that I had to figure out if I was going to get hooked on.
Right.
And I didn't want to get hooked on anything. I really didn't. And but that is the go-to, is to throw drugs into your system. And I recognized that there were some that I needed, but I didn't want additional stuff. I wanted to try and figure out how to counter stuff, as opposed to and to overcome because there's a lot of pain stuff going on, but I got off of that as quick as I could.
Amen. Well, I'll tell you what. Thank you for the call. Thank you, Kathleen.
Thanks for sharing your story.
We're glad you're better now. And by the way, keep listening to Wade and Carter, and we'll keep you sane. I will share with you. We did joke, because we do joke. If Ash and I could do like an unfettered podcast, it would be scary. But I did make the comment that if you when you have the percentage of the community that's into the LGBTQ plus whatever minus thing is so small that it'd be as if you had, you dial 988 and you say, I don't know. I have a fetish for sleeping with goats. I'm into and Ash said,
yeah, hold on, let's get Abdul.
Yeah, hang on. We'll transfer you to Abdul.
I mean, don't you just want to help people right away?
Call them to
you gotta
Abdul.
find the one. What if that person's not on shift when you call 988?
Right, Abdul's out
at
at prom with his goat.
Yeah.
You never know. Let's take a break. Wrap up the breaks for the week, folks. Chesnick Furniture inviting you to come in tomorrow, Saturday. Yeah, they're open. Been there 100 years plus, 80 plus at this location. Beautiful bedding, Tempur-Pedic bedding, Sealy, Posturepedic, and Stearns and Foster. And Lisa Poole thought goats was funny. There you go, Lisa. You get it.
It's okay to joke in this day and age.
Other people thought it was funny. They just won't admit it. Chesnick and Love make your house a home. That's our line. They say you just always do better at Chesnick. And you do. You really do. Atzenoffer and Atzenoffer.com since 1926. Atzenoffer's been Victoria's dealership. Ed Asner told Mary Tyler Moore. Ed Atzenoffer sold the first Chevy 500 here in 1926. It's an amazing family story, an amazing family-owned dealership. Get by and see Tommy Taylor, the latest iteration of the family. Get by and see him this week. Went Services, Went Electrical, Went for all your generator needs. It's storm season. We did have a hurricane make landfall yesterday in deep southern Mexico.
On the Pacific side, where they're already into the E's.
Yeah, it happens. It's called storm season for a reason.
Went can provide you your backup generator, so you'll never be without power.
And the
if the
peace
storm
of
hits you.
mind to never worry about it.
Absolutely.
Give me a topic.
Jared
Give me a topic.
McCurgan, pamphlet in Manitoba pushing medically assisted aid in dying was advertising to kids. You can be declared a mature minor, so you can make your own decisions, and getting mental health help could take 4 months, but you can get medically assisted aid in dying in 3 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not ideal.
No. And don't get me wrong. I truly believe there's a place in our healthcare system for this. If you're terminally ill, if you've got a condition that I'm not taught. I mean, decisions made regarding dementia or Alzheimer's, things like that. Well, you're still of sound mind.
But you've got pancreatic cancer, stage 4, metastasized. It's in your lungs, brain, and liver, and they're keeping you hopped up on morphine all the time. I personally don't have a problem with you telling the doctor, wink, hey, if you want to slip me a little something and let me go to sleep, that's your call. Now, I think that
we can put a dog down faster than we can put a human down because it's a compassionate thing to do.
Yeah. Let's see. Ricky King says, I wonder if I called 988 and told them I'm obsessed with listening to Wade and Carter every morning, if they got a counselor to help me. They do. There's been such a demand of people trying to wean themselves off the program.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're the heroine of morning radio. I mean, you are all Keith Richards right now.
Wake up with an itch.
Yeah. Scratch it.
This is the only fix to scratch it.
What do you think about, and I don't know.
I think Oregon has assisted suicide laws. You could actually go there and get it done. But I mean, there's a process.
If you're healthy enough to travel to Oregon, you might want to hold out for a cure.
But the fact that they're trying to make it runs counterintuitive. We eased up the 988 number because the old 1-800 number was hard for people to remember. So we said, well, let's make it easier on folks. But then instead of trying to help kids who think they're in a position where they want to die at the age of 14.
Yeah, you can't assist those kids in making that decision. You can only strive to talk them out of that.
Yeah. I just
don't know about, I'm getting older and I don't know how I would feel. I think the foundation of it is that as Christians, we want to believe that there are many who would believe, well, you're not being faithful enough. You're not praying hard enough. You should pray for a cure. But again, if that's the case, then don't take the morphine, embrace the pain. I mean, I think there comes a point where if you said, I just want to go, that especially if you had it in writing in a like a do not resuscitate type thing. Hey, look, now if your kids are all gathered around reading the will and reading the life insurance policy and they're going, put it down, I got bills to pay. That's not ideal. And I think that's the fear.
Some of it,
you would have medically assisted murder.
I'll get personal here. My mom wanted it, but she was too far gone. And the process takes long enough that it didn't come quick enough to ease her pain.
Right.
And she passed before we could get there.
I just had a field of dreams. Sorry.
But that's all right. She loved that movie.
Ease his pain. Is that what he said?
But I think, But I think there's times for the red tape to be multiple layers. And then there's times when the red tape needs to just be peeled off and the process expedited.
Right.
But
James Earl Jones still alive?
No.
Baseball. Remember the way he says that in that movie?
It's just like Darth Vader.
Baseball.
Jared says Canada leads the world in made now and expanded, and I believe so. You don't have to have a terminal medical condition to qualify. No, now they're going to let you, just because I think Belgium's doing the same thing. If you just you're just so depressed and you don't think life's going to get any better, and you've got 60 years to live, and you don't want to live like that for 60 years. And you know what? if that's the way, maybe that is the best thing to do. I don't know. Maybe stop wasting resources on these people that don't want to help themselves. I don't know. I'm just playing devil's advocate here, but you know what? Maybe
it's Friday, man. Go with it.
I don't know. And now that I think about it, if these people really want to go,
here, beat yourself in the face with this for a while.
I don't know.
I can't go on. I think you must press on. Never give in.
No, I completely, I'm being somewhat facetious,
I hope so.
but no, I agree. Press on. I mean, permanent solutions to temporary problems, never the fix.
I agree.
Never the fix.
If you ever feel suicidal, especially if Ash's opinions make you question your mere existence, dial 988 and talk to someone. All I'm saying is, if you're 14 years old and you're calling 988 because you want to talk to somebody specifically about lobbing your bits off, he ain't going to be there for you anymore because the administration feels that that's enabling that type of idiotic, mind-bent behavior.
Where's all the
and
talk?
I agree.
Remember when the left was all up in arms over bullying kids on social media and at school and leading them to suicide? Where are those conversations these days? They don't exist anymore.
Climate change replaced that.
Yeah.
And then the pandemic replaced that. And then Governor Cuomo killed everybody in New York with his nipple piercings showing through his polo shirt. And now he's retreading and may reappear in New York.
State issued polo shirt from 4 Imprint.
Right? I did notice this morning that Ron DeSantis, while speaking, was wearing like a really cool little quarter zip blue. It says, it had the seal of the state of Florida. It said Governor Ron DeSantis. And it was, you just have to take my word for it as somebody who observes these things, the exact same gear that Mayor Karen Bass of Los Angeles was wearing on the extreme other coast when her outfit. So he's the male version.
Well,
she's the female. Same exact gear.
I mean, think about it. I mean, you only have 50 governors.
Yeah. And
200 mayors. I mean, there's not a lot of money in. I mean, nobody's rushing out to buy state of Florida sealed gear. So probably only 1 or 2 producers of this
Tell
stuff.
us about the marijuana.
Yeah, CNN
Tell us about the
reporting
ganja man.
Marijuana use dramatically increases the risk of dying from heart attacks and stroke, according to a very large study. That it doubles the risk of dying from heart disease, according to a new analysis of pooled medical data involving 200 million people.
And I don't care anything about the weed. I can just tell you what I've observed in my lifetime.
Well, what they've said in this is, as the potency of weed has increased, so have the health risks.
And I can believe that. That's what I was going to go to. When I was a kid and people that we called heads, he's a head because they were potheads. That's what we had at school. We had the jocks,
the preps,
the hippies. We didn't have any preps.
Didn't have any preppies?
No,
you were before the preppies?
Yeah, we had jocks, you had hippies, and you had heads. And a lot of times the hippies were the heads.
Cowboys, had the rednecks.
Yeah. And then you just had, the idiots, and they were the ones that all married each other and made Democrats. But the dope that they smoked was what we just called Mexican dirt weed. And they smoked it, and they got high, but they might smoke half a pound a week because it was just weed.
It stunk.
But now, skunk weed, right? But now they can dial it in, Ash. I mean, they can dial it in. I've been reading about these dispensaries and may actually know a person or two who's been to one. And you can literally walk in and say, hey, look, I'm not a marijuana user.
In Texas anymore.
I'm not a marijuana user, but
if I was,
I would like something that in the evenings, I want to take the edge off. I want to have a good appetite, and I want to really enjoy a nice glass of red wine at dinner. I'm not exaggerating. There will be a dude there that goes, bro, come here. And he will dial you in on take half of this. I don't know why I turned into Bill Clinton.
I don't know.
Hey, Monica,
get the cigars and Bill didn't inhale. That's why.
Meet me in the Oval Office. Don't bring Hillary, bitch. But that is the angle that they've got it that scientific now with the THC that they can literally say, oh, you don't want to be high, but you want to just lose that edge. Start out with half of this gummy.
How much of that increased heart disease risk and heart attack risk is because when you got high, you then ordered up a Taco Bell,
No doubt,
or ate crappy food to satisfy the cravings? I don't know.
Callie Frommie, having a Victoria High flashback, says the cowboy types were called kickers, and that's true. But to a degree, looking back, everybody was a kicker, to a degree around here. Yeah. Monty Howard says at Austin Reagan High School back in the day, we had goat ropers, kickers, smokers. When I was a kid,
S kickers,
at
poop kickers for the.
Oh yeah,
we'll keep it. Yeah.
But when I was a kid, Victoria High. So if you go from where the gym is, there was that open patio that goes into what we called the old building, the original building, running parallel down Sam Houston. There was a cage there where it may have been only seniors, but you were allowed to go in there and smoke.
We had a smoking pit at my high school.
They called it
inside the court,
cage.
in the courtyard, in the bit, like you could get to it from inside the school, and there was a courtyard, and that's where the walls were black with nicotine.
But back then, it was like looking at the monkeys at the zoo. It actually served, I believe, as a deterrent. You could do it, and maybe the first time you went in there, you felt empowered or you felt cool, but everybody's looking at you like you're an idiot.
And then I think by my final year in high school, 8 years later, they had moved him to the back door.
Yeah.
Away from the building.
Jonathan Williams is spot on. He says, when I was in high school, if you wanted to find the stoners, you just had to walk across the street from VHS to Love Street. That is true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've laughed so hard, and I still, every time, if you haven't seen Fast Times at Ridgemont High, it's very sophomorish, but it's very, very funny. And you love it when they roll up to school and the van door opens and all the smoke comes out. It's just hilarious.
We teased you yesterday to Jonathan Houghton says they have bath bombs with THC in them. I'm not sure I don't know how that would work. I think it's just a gimmick.
You have to drink your bath water?
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, I would probably drink Dawn's bath water, but that's a whole different story.
I don't know. We talked yesterday. Just give us a topic. Nobody's given us one, but we've had lots today. But
we've got plenty to talk
and
about.
We've still got the Astros
and the
update. First State Bank.
Show up. Astros lost.
Yeah,
what
they
else
lost.
you want to
6-4.
know?
Josh Hader finally blew a save. Was
Did
it a
he
save
really?
or a win opportunity? I don't know.
See.
He gave up a 2-run home run on the 10th, and that's how the Astros lost walk-off.
Nick Kurtz, no relation to Mark Kurtz.
No, let's look at the box score. Mark Wishes.
Yeah.
No, it was tied 4. So, I mean, Hader got the loss, but I don't think
Wilson,
he didn't blow the
go
save.
back down.
Okay.
Jacob Wilson goes 2 for 5 with a run and an RBI to raise his batting average. He had a home run as well to raise his average to 359.
Yeah. Kurtz at his 9th. I think he's had 2 off the Astros in this series. So
rookie.
Yeah. So, but yeah, Hader, I don't believe blew the save, but anyway.
Yeah.
Caratini homered. But
Caratini switch hits, plays catcher.
Everybody else lost, so the Astros still 5.5 up on the Mariners
and as we've
NAL
discussed,
West.
That's why winning these games early in the summer that you ought to win.
Yeah.
That's why those are so important. Had they won, they'd be up 6.
Absolutely.
But they just found a way. And it's baseball.
Done.
You got to wonder, I mean, who are the teams that are losing to the Colorado Rockies? I don't know, but they are there. Yeah. Oh, look at that. The world's 50 best restaurants.
Yep. 2025 list, a Peruvian spot took number 1. There's 5 U.S. restaurants on the list.
Of course, being one of them.
Atomics is the highest ranking U.S. restaurant. It's number 12 in the world, according to this list of lists.
So it's based on everything. It's based on everything like ambiance and all that.
Yeah, service, the whole 9 yards. Don Julio in Buenos Aires, number 10. I wouldn't know how to pronounce that.
KJO.
It's got to be Scandinavian in Lima, Peru. There's like 2 in Peru here.
What's the number 1 restaurant in the world?
Lobster?
I don't know. That's just a big old crawfish.
Yeah, it looks like it. Number 1 restaurant in the world is Mido in Lima, Peru as well.
You ever heard of it?
Nope.
Mido. Click on that. Click on that picture there. They'll wait.
Again,
Mido.
do I need to translate this to English for us?
Wouldn't hurt. Welcome to our world.
It looks like Japanese.
Is it? Listen, this is the tag info for
There's
the
no menu.
best restaurant in the world. Life is movement. Nothing is static or absolute. No one is. We are in constant flux, as are the earth, the tides, bacteria,
Just
light,
what I want to hear when
the
I'm
blood
listening
in
about
our
a
bodies,
restaurant.
and your stool. No, it didn't say that. Blood in our bodies, color, and seed. Cuisines like family trees, the brother food,
Yep.
are constantly redefined. Their identities enriched in an intense interculturality that has been, I don't want to eat there. I'd be like, shut up and make me a chicken pot pie. I don't want to eat
That's
there.
a 7-syllable word.
And then they used, looks like, is that wood?
Yeah.
They used trees. They killed what, 50 trees?
Probably
there
out of the
to-
Amazon rainforest while they're there, while they're at it.
This dump. I wouldn't go there. Take me to Veracruz. Give me the the Mido experience with Tokoju pairing, $2,420 a person.
Yeah, but that's probably Peruvian pesos or whatever they use.
Somebody translate Peruvian money to dollars for me. Do it and put it in the comments. I don't need you to do it. You have a show to host.
The commander isn't here because congratulations to the commander, by the way.
Right.
Oh, Marina says she remembers seeing me in that smoking
I
courtyard.
don't
That
think
is,
you
those are
smoked.
lies.
He didn't
Lies.
smoke. He's over there.
I was out the back door with a mouthful of red man back then.
Now you just do it right out in front, like
Yeah.
you're all bold and everything.
All right,
Brother,
Monty Howard is a talk for us. Canadian secession. I don't think it's going to happen. I know there's lots of talk. Alberta's, I believe they're getting pipelines that they've wanted. I know there's a movement for it. Danielle Smith, the premier of Alberta, is all a buzz. But I don't think it'll happen. I don't think it'll happen. What was that? $2,800?
Yeah, it's
Peruvian?
28 cents to the US dollar. So it's about $500 a person. 2420 times 0.28. I can do that real quick. 2420 times 0.28. $677. That's
person.
with the pair.
Ay.
Foreign Bales knew that. 28
Yeah.
to the dollar. Come on in, brother man.
I'm not dropping $600 on a meal.
Well, you might. I mean, it just depends on how much booze you ingest. I've seen you.
That was
go.
without the one without the pairing was
I
cheaper.
have seen you go. Can we just cut through it all
Yep.
and give the people what they want? This right there he is. Oh, the applause, bro. How are you, my friend?
Good. Good to see you
It
last
was
night.
good to see you.
All we needed was Ash there.
Yeah. Walked in last night down to La Cantina Tacos and Tequila. They had Gary Prukup doing his. By the way, he was really good last
He was
night.
on.
Soon
He was
I'll
on.
come.
And yes, you just
And, yep, I'll let you
need
know.
to. You need to. It'd been great with you there.
yeah. And
That was his first Thursday night.
I'm gonna bring
He'd
a
been
date.
doing it on Wednesdays.
well, I
But-
can tell you that we made the commitment. The last time we were there, the group that I was with said, "Well, the next time he does this, I want to be there again."
They are all there.
And it's nice. I was making fun, but he plays 6 to 9 because he's playing music from 50 years ago, and all the people that are there dancing are old. And so at 9 o'clock, they're like, "Can we get on the shuttle and get back to Movado?"
They
Yeah.
enjoy it. Do you see that
Oh.
crowd? That's our crowd.
Yeah, no
That's our
doubt.
crowd.
No doubt. It was like when we did the Drifters reunion and you couldn't dance very well because of all the walkers on the dance floor. But it was,
Love our
the
people.
music was great. And
Fantastic.
Gary he's just a great guy to begin with. And just so much a historic figure, just so
Well,
much with the Drifters
It's
and all
the
that.
Drifters. It's the Drifters. And I remember setting that band up many a times downtown.
Oh, no doubt.
Ash and Brent, we did it downtown back in the days, and you could put on a Tuesday night, you'd have a couple of thousand people.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Easy on a Tuesday night.
Smoking
Only
that
ga-
weed, man. That's what
Only
they were
game
doing.
in town. What you talking about, Victoria High? Right outside the gym. Right
Yeah,
to
little
the side of the
smoker's
gym.
cage. Remember
Smoker's
that?
cage. Right. And you could take your car, you could leave campus back in those days.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
You did
did
your car-
every day.
Every day.
absolutely.
Every day.
And what's funny is
And nobody
walked.
walked on a campus with a gun either.
No,
Right.
no.
Well, they
but
had
you
them
might
in
have
the
a
trucks,
shotgun
yeah.
hanging in the back of your truck.
But nobody went and
checked
shot up the
parking lot.
schools.
They weren't
Yeah.
checking the
I
parking
had
lot.
like $3.50 for lunch. We would go to Monterey House, and what would you have? Iced tea and chips.
Yeah.
You know, we
All you
had
could
chips. Yeah, bring me some more chips. We thought it was a buffet.
You remember Mammy's gift here?
Yeah.
$1, all you could eat.
And we used to go to, who was it that had, was it Easley's? Who had what pharmacy had the griddle in the back?
Yeah, I know.
Harding and Parker.
Harding and Parker.
Well, we used to go there. They had a great cheeseburger, man. We would go there.
Man.
I'll do a little,
Cell
I'll do a
phones
little
didn't
more
exist.
for those asking about, because the Canadian secession seems to have gathered a little bit of steam on.
Well,
the,
we have a
on the
large
chat.
Canadian contingent.
Yeah,
We
so
appreciate y'all.
On Tuesday, because Tuesdays are slow news days, I'll do a little work over the weekend, and I'll come a little bit more
There's
informed
no
on the
chance
Canadian
he's gonna do any
secession.
work,
He's a
brother.
worker.
There's no chance.
He's a
Watch.
worker.
I get nothing out of him. How have you been, sir? And
I'm
tell us
great.
what's going on. You
Good
know there's
stuff.
something going on in Victoria this weekend.
Well, yeah.
Where are you going to be?
I'll be Juneteenth celebration. They moved last week. It got soaked out because the grounds were too wet. We're moving it to this Saturday, 10 to 7. You'll see Jimmy White, some of the boys you know.
Yes,
I'll
sir.
come back for that. We'll be over there, Pleasant Green, the old Carver Center,
Very
2311,
nice.
10 to 7, all kind of activities. I'll be at the Victoria, Texas Art Walk. It's in the mall. Good thing. Mosquitoes are bad. Art Walk, that's 11 to 4. And a good one for the dogs. If we can get out there, mosquitoes aren't too bad. Dogs in the bark, in the park.
Oh,
They'll be over there.
the dog, the
Dog
dog
park?
park over there,
It's 2 to 5. They're going to have,
right there by Riverside Stadium. It's
Yeah.
nice. It's
Oh,
a
it's
nice
nice.
facility.
they're going to let you file the nails they'll have somebody there filing the nails for the dogs, grooming them,
Nice.
just doing things for the dogs. And that's 2 to 5.
Awesome.
There
Very
you
nice.
go. Good stuff. I could go on and on. There's so
You
many,
could.
but I do want to mention.
Please do stretch. We got,
I got-
5 minutes and we
well, I
got
got a couple-
nothing.
Take your time.
I got a couple of things right here.
I'll just real
You
quick.
go ahead.
Atomics is the one is the highest rated U.S. restaurant on that list.
Say
Top
it
50,
again.
number 12. Atomics. It's in New York City. Never been.
We like restaurants. We love that. That's
Back
what we
up
were.
and open that up. Let's see but go ahead and talk to the brother.
Keep going, brother.
All right.
Well,
Well,
you're good.
all right. Let me give you a little sports then.
Tell us.
All right. How much did the Lakers sell for?
$10 billion.
10, highest ever team to be sold for $10 billion to the Dodgers owner. Right. The Dodgers owner, right? Walker.
I
So
think
tell
yeah.
me this. If the Los Angeles Lakers are worth $10 billion, and we all agree that if you're going to rank the value of sports teams, it goes NFL, Major League Baseball, then basketball.
NBA. But the Lakers.
So what does that mean, sir? That the
Cowboys
Dallas
are
Cowboys
worth
are
over 10 billion, but if they sold them, it's going to be way over 10 billion.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
easily.
But it was just a couple of years ago that we were like, can you believe the Cowboys are probably worth $10 billion? They're probably worth $25
Well,
billion.
think about it. When Mark Cuban bought the Mavericks, he paid like $280 million for it, and
Yeah.
everybody laughed, saying, "Oh, it's a joke. They hadn't won crap."
And
wins.
he joked on Dallas radio, well, I was worth $2 billion, so now I'm worth $1.97 billion. I'll take my chances.
And then what did
you
he sell them for? Like $2.5 billion.
No,
and
three
and
point
retained
something. You saw-
27%
Did you see
ownership.
what Bus bought the Lakers for? $67 million.
know?
Bought them
Wow.
at that time. And look what they're worth.
Yeah.
Wow.
$10 billion. I mean, whoever thought it used to be that professional sports teams were millionaires' playgrounds.
Correct.
Just as recent as John McMullen owning the Astros,
Yeah.
just a mere millionaire.
Yeah.
But now it's owned by billionaires.
I might
and
go-
they
I might-
become billionaires.
I might go to this Atomics when I'm in New York City next time. Simply
sounds
for
good to
this.
me.
Simply for this. Please
Listen to
note,
this.
we are not able to accommodate vegan, vegetarian, celiac diets, as well as any allergies or aversions to fish, shellfish, seafood, dairy, gluten, or allium.
So, what does the current menu look
I'm
like?
looking
Find
right
me
now.
something on that menu. Are there any
Um,
prices on that
See,
menu?
you're the one watching that stuff, not us.
I don't know if there's any menu.
Halibut, sea urchin,
Ah.
mussels, bluefin, tuna.
halibut.
Abalone. Okay, but are there any?
It looks Korean.
Are there any menus? Are there any?
This
there
is the
any-
menu.
There's
It
no
looks-
money mentioned. That's never
No.
good, brother, man. If you
That's-
walk in and there's a comma in the price, you may be in trouble.
And if you're on a date, you just barely know the girl. You don't ask
Oh,
what
I'm
it costs you.
surprised.
You just
I'm
buy it.
just surprised a restaurant in New York City isn't catering to all the.
Right.
They don't
all-
have to.
No,
They're one of the
that's
top
right.
restaurants in the
Yeah,
world.
they,
restaurant.
right, they
And
don't
here's the
have to.
thing to remember for the young folks out there: don't ever take a girl to a restaurant you've never been to because you're going to get sticker shock.
Yeah.
You know, let's go there because can you imagine being 17, 18 years old and you're on a date and you whip into Greek's 205 down here and you have 40. She goes, I'll have the ribeye medium rare.
Right.
And at the same moment that you get all tingly about that, you realize it's $47
Or more.
Yeah. It's like,
Monty
come
Howard
on.
says if you need to see the prices, you probably don't need to be eating there.
Amen. That's what they used to say about
Sandra
Cadillacs.
Health says Ferguson
love it.
Drugstore. Is that the one you were thinking of?
Ferguson Drugstore. Yeah,
That's
there
it.
you
Carol,
go.
remember the Ferguson kids?
Yes.
Thank you,
Carol
Sandra.
Ferguson.
Thank you, Ms. Hill.
Cheerleaders and all that good stuff.
Tell Ronnie hi.
Kick Ronnie in the ribs for me, will you? Great friends.
The water boy. Do you see? They put out some figures. The water boy on an NFL team. You know what a water boy makes? $53,000.
See, there's a
water boy
job
in the
there
NFL.
if you want it.
There you go.
Can you imagine?
Did you see that the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders are now going to get $1,600 a game?
But I think
They're getting a 4 times raise over what they were doing. They were getting about $400 a game. Remember, just a few years ago, they weren't making anything.
They didn't make anything.
It was just the privilege of being a Dallas Cowboy
and
cheerleader.
they're going to pay them for travel and all something. They can make like something like 90,000 or something.
Yeah,
a year.
$1,600 a
There you
game.
go.
There's 17 games.
Well,
There you go.
I mean, that's part of the Cowboys, man.
Miss Sandra said that Ronnie Hilt's laughing. I'm glad.
Ronnie
I'm still
Hilt.
scared of him.
Well-
He'll always be coach to me.
Coach Help, man. Ronnie and I,
Yeah.
back in the Patty Weller days. he was
We
a
go
couple of
way
years
back,
over there.
brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we moved him up to Howell.
But yeah, y'all moved him
You
up
know,
to-
Moving
and he
on
wanted to
up.
come back to Patty Weller. Those kids.
HR
didn't
Mallory
like-
says if she orders a medium rare steak, you marry that girl.
Amen. 100% agree. That's what I said.
Yeah.
In the same moment that you get tingly, you're kind of scared about that sticker shock.
Ronnie still got that look, doesn't he?
Oh yeah,
He
he
got
well,
that-
he
Oh,
gives
yeah.
you that look. You know,
The only good thing is his knees aren't quite as good as they used to be, so you could probably outrun him.
it's like I got to take a lap, don't I, Coach? Yep, take
Yep,
a lap.
you
And
do.
shut up, Carmen.
I love him.
Love
Hey,
it,
you
man.
guys are
What
great,
do we
man.
miss here? Jaws
Folks-
is turning 50. Today marks the 50th anniversary of Jaws.
Yeah.
We're gonna need a bigger boat. Folks,
Sure
it's
are.
the top of the hour. We love you, folks. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Brother man, as always,
Thank
sir.
y'all. Love
Thank
y'all.
you for blessing us with your time.
Thank you,
very
brother.
much.
If you see Brother Gary, don't be shy. Just walk up and say, Brother Gary, you taught me. He doesn't know the difference. We'll talk to y'all later, folks.
Have a good
Bye-bye.
weekend. Bye, folks.
Locked up for driving 120 through town. I've been shot at